It's 7:45.
Breakfast is Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk, Tech Talk with Matthew Dixon.
I don't even have to say your name or anything, Matt.
That's right.
That's really special. I'm
Richard had a
really
bit of-
excited about that. That's the first time I've heard that.
Do you think he had a bit of a stutter that day when he was recording that?
I was thinking Tech Talk, and I probed Leisha, who voiced that, and she said that Richard made it. So he was very technical doing
It was
that.
very technical, yeah.
so
I was very impressed with
think
it.
he's
I
done-
didn't know he was doing it the first week I turned up. He said, oh, by the way, I've done this for you. And it sounded
He's
fantastic.
done really well.
Yeah.
Mate, I know that you are into tech all the time. How did you get interested, before we get into the topics, how did you get interested in all the devices? And I know that you have a background with business in that sort of thing as well.
Well, it goes back, the technology goes way back before business, Brett. It was basically back at school. I was at St John's College where the old TAFE, it's not even TAFE there anymore, but where the Leadership Academy actually is at now. That was St John's College. It went up to year 10 in those days. And I think it was about year 7, might have even been year 8. We got 2 very flash Apple II computers. So the whole school, 2 computers, wow. And I just went in and had a bit of a fiddle with them. And before I knew it, I designed this database. The whole school database was entered. So all the students, all the information for those students was basically entered. And I think I ended up doing most of the keying as well
Nice.
for the entire school on this database that I'd created there. So it's just kind of one of those things that felt natural, duck to water type of thing. And certainly I had a strong maths background and enjoyed my maths, and I think it just seemed that logical sequencing for computers seemed to go hand in hand with maths, and I think the maths teachers often end up being the computer science coordinators as well.
I think that's where it started for me too, and they had Apple Macs. I can't remember which one it was. The one that had the floppy drive, but it was all in one unit. They
were the Macintosh.
Oh, Macintosh. That's right.
In colours they came in.
Oh, they did, and it was really exciting. And I knew that we used to have computing time, and that's probably what sparked my interest in a computer. We grew up, I suppose, because it was mum and me, single parent, single child situation, but she made sure that she tried to save all her money to buy our very first computer, and it was close to $2,000 back then, and you didn't get much money for your bang, but it was, the fastest one, and colour printer, all that sort of stuff. But do you find that the kids that grow up around the devices and technology, they're the ones that are probably going to lead us into the future because they've been around it all the time, as opposed to those people that miss out? But it's getting easier at school because they're making it more available, aren't they?
Well, that's right, and it is hard to find who would miss out anymore because everyone has access to something, whether it be at school, whether it be just with their basic little phone. I mean, so many times now I'll talk to my kids and I'll naturally say, well, let's just check out that, I'll look it up, and I'll naturally go to my computer to do it. And before I know it, they've already pulled it out of their pocket, looked it up, and they've taken care of what I wanted to do before I've even walked into the office to sit in front of the computer. So I think that's the thing. It just is such a natural part of kids at the moment as they grow up, whether it be a computer effectively in their hand, whether it be a tablet, some sort of tablet device, iPads, that type of thing, or whether it be the old-fashioned, they call me a boomer sometimes when I go and sit on the old-fashioned computer. But there's still, in my mind, Brett, there's still just that little bit more I can do with my computer than I can with a tablet or a phone. They've both got their places, but the computer still sometimes wins out for me because of the things I can do extra. But maybe I'm showing my age there.
Well, I don't know. You and I have probably known each other for over 15 years for my longevity here at 2 and you've always been at the forefront. I've always seen you with a phone when you were the mayor of Dubbo, that sort of thing. It's like, wow, he's even better than me. I thought I was the tech nut, but you certainly are, right up there. Do you think that your children will move into that role as well because they've got, a dad that influences them around? Or?
Well, I think hopefully they'll have a really good understanding of technology in general, and they've all had to work in our business, so they've had to have that understanding from the practical side as well. It's all well and good to dream about these wonderful things and look at all these great things I can do, but in a practical sense, they need to be usable, need to be things you can work with. So at the moment, I've got one daughter in the media, I've got one daughter doing architecture, my son is actually studying computer science and media arts. So that's kind of an interesting combination. It's in fact, when he was going around the universities trying to work out what to do, he walked into one particular pitch and they said, for all those creative nerds out there, this is for you. And he went, oh, wow, that's me, because he's certainly got the computer strength, and then he's got the creative side. So he's loving what he's doing there. And then I've still got one child left at school, and again, who knows what she'll do. But I think the thing is, it's having that understanding of technology no matter what you do. And that's the thing. I hear some people say to me, oh, I'm involved in blah, I don't need to know about technology. And I think that's wrong. I think it doesn't matter what you're involved in. you need to know about technology. We have grandparents who come in and they buy a new tablet because they want to FaceTime with their grandchild. So you're retired, you might think everything's done, but you still, that ability to use technology in a practical sense, I think is really important.
I would imagine that you would see, especially on a business level, I know we'll get to the topics, but you mentioned FaceTime or Skype during the pandemic, that would have increased. And it's interesting that even television stations are doing those interviews remotely now using people's laptops or, those devices, tablets and the like to get the vision on air. Have you found that there's been an increase of selling more data in regards to mobile and 3G, 4G communication because people are doing that because of the pandemic?
Yeah, and it was really interesting, Brett, when the first bits of COVID-19 started hitting, and no one knew really what was going to happen the next minute, the next hour, the next day, and we didn't really know. And we made a bit of a bet, if you like, a business bet with it. Well, we don't know if we're going to have to close down. We don't know what will happen. Will our sales drop off? Do we let staff go? All the rest of it. And I kind of made a decision to say no. And my expression internally was, let's swim upstream. Lots of other people seem to be doing that, cutting back hours, setting stuff and all those. Let's do the opposite. And my focus there was around data. I said, I don't know how our mobile phone sales will go, but data, I think there's an opportunity there. And so we started selling more data boosting devices so people could get better access in remote areas. We actually won an Australia-wide sales competition for the best reseller in the nation for those particular devices. So data devices, various ways to access it, increasing data amounts, all those things certainly. And yeah, that luckily, as the case was, those things helped, and we went through the business without, we probably had more overtime for our staff because they were busier than normal. But again, it was one of those things where I think you could see that data requirement was there. So let's see how we can jump on that and make sure we provide a service to people.
Do you think it's been easier for older people in the community, our seniors, to embrace that technology? Because I know that even with my mum, it was very hard to introduce her even just to, an Android telephone and then the laptop that I ended up buying her eventually. Yep. But have you seen an embrace from the older generation going, oh, look, I know I've got to move on with the times, otherwise I won't get to see my grandkids?
Yeah, I think even further than that, it was the estimation in the technology world is that we've had 3 years of development in 3 months. And that was that first start of the pandemic. And so you did have people who had said to me at sometimes, I've been thinking about doing this, I've been wanting to do this, the grandkids have talked to me about doing this, but suddenly that pushed them over the edge. So it didn't suddenly change people who were dead against technology to suddenly embrace it, but people who were teetering, people who were thinking, I should do that, or one day I'll get the time to that, suddenly there was that burning reason to do it. They couldn't go and visit the grandkids anymore, they couldn't go and jump in a car and go on a holiday, or jump in a plane and go on a holiday, so they had to try and embrace other ways of doing it.
For sure. The term everything is better with Bluetooth comes to mind. Is that true or what?
It's actually a great line from Big Bang Theory, one of my favourite TV shows, and you kind of go, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, but Samsonite have now brought out a Bluetooth backpack. And I love my technology, Brett, as we've just talked about, but I'm struggling a little bit here to see the practical outcome of having Bluetooth in my backpack. And one of the things you can do with it, for example, you've got the straps that go over your shoulders, and you can just simply tap on the strap to stop a song that you might be listening to, or change the volume, or go back and skip the next song. But you kind of can do that with headphones that you're wearing, or maybe a watch on your arm, or just with your phone in your pocket. So you start to struggle about what can I do with it. Then I saw the idea of being able to take photos. So you can wear your backpack, set the camera up somewhere else, and use the Bluetooth in the backpack to take a photo. But again, there's other ways to do that. So it's kind of one of those things, I think, that I like the idea of saying at a party, I've got a Bluetooth backpack, but how much would I use it? I'm just not convinced. But anyway, this is the development of technology sometimes happens where people roll out ideas and some work and some don't. I don't see this being a big celebration.
I mean, I could see if you're hiking or something like that and you're by yourself that might be okay. But if you were going to take a photo and there's bunches of people, I often ask people to take photos for us and go, oh, they're going to steal my phone. What if you pass your backpack over and all the technology goes with it? That would be,
well, look,
probably a waste of money.
Might be that you might leave the backpack on and then use the Bluetooth connection to a phone sitting up somewhere else to do it. But again, I'm struggling here. I'm really stretching it out here to try and find a good practical reason to have Bluetooth backpack.
Do you think perhaps then, because it's a Samsonite backpack, do you think that might be a way that they're trying to reinvent themselves from that big name brand because otherwise they just won't move forward? Is that the thinking, do you think?
Well, I think sometimes with companies, they introduce their flagship product, which they expect 1% of the population to buy.
Yeah.
But what they want is they want people to go, wow, look at that progressive company. They're going really well. They've got a Bluetooth backpack. And then they just go and buy a normal backpack. So I think sometimes it is that image that people project or the organisations project.
Because it looks like you can charge things, there's LED lights and all of that sort of thing in it. Where do you get the battery power from?
Yeah, that's right. And then I worry about the weight of the backpack because you've got all these things and then you've got to have the extra weight of the batteries for that backpack.
Yeah,
so,
for
anyway,
sure.
it's different ideas and I'm sure some people will find a use for it out there.
What about, because my mum has struggled all the time, speaking of batteries, because the old batteries you would plug in when you think you're running low and then all of a sudden 50%, if you plug in at 50%, that then teaches the phone or the battery that it's 0% and you only get half of the battery power. Is that changing now?
Yeah, so that used to be the old memory effect that batteries had. And I remember in my early business days, we bought a very expensive device that would go through and work out to erase that memory effect of batteries. But now, really, yes, you can be pedantic about the way you charge a battery and when you charge it and how full you go to. And I say to people, let you be in charge, not the technology be in charge. So when it's going flat, if it's time to go to bed and it's going a bit flat, plug it in. If you don't want to plug it in, don't plug it in. You'll probably get 5% less battery life overall from the life of that battery by just using it as it's convenient. But we're humans, let's be convenient. And if it means we replace our battery a month earlier than we might have otherwise done, then do that is my logic. So tell your mum, plug in when it's flat. When it's fully charged, unplug it. If you leave it in fully charged, the technology is clever enough that it will slow down those charge rates.
So this memory effect battery, if we've got devices from the last couple of years, that would have that new technology, would it?
Yeah.
But something over, what, 3, 4, 5 years?
I think it'd be very rare for someone who's still using a battery now that actually has that memory
Yeah,
effect. You know,
okay.
cameras that you might have had from a few years ago typically were okay. If they've got lithium-ion batteries, they're going to be right. It's really those old nickel-cadmium batteries, and I don't think there's many devices I can think of anyway that have still got nickel-cadmium in them.
Is there still a rule to the new batteries quickly? Like, are you supposed to charge them all at once, or can you do it in segments?
Look, ideally, if you want to be pedantic about it, if you keep the battery between 20 and 80%, that's usually the best way to manage the long-term life of the battery. But again, I say people just plug in when it's convenient.
Yeah, for sure. My mum, God love her, she turns her phone off to charge it. And I'm like, Mum, you don't have to. Because she goes, well, you didn't call me. It's like, well, I tried.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Well, one of the things is often you'll turn it off and when you plug it in to charge it, then turns it back on.
Yeah,
So.
that's it. Mate, if people do want to come down and talk about FaceTime or Skype and that sort of thing, or even batteries or mobile phones, they can come and see you. I know that this is not about pushing your business or anything like that, but those people that are still in need, they can certainly come and see you at your business. How do we find you down there?
Yeah, just go to Dubbo Square. Dubbo Square is actually pumping at the moment. A lot of people are around, especially during the holidays. So access in Dubbo Square, obviously on the web. You can go and see us there, Facebook, all sorts of social media, or just drop in and see us or give us a call. So yeah, a range of ways to contact us. But yeah, you're right. This segment's all about just technology, not so much trying to
If
play
someone's
business.
listening and they want to ask something about tech, can they contact you?
Oh, absolutely, and we would have probably 30% of the people that drop in our door just come in and say, "Can you show me what this is? Can you tell me about this?" And that's fine. That's I call that good old-fashioned customer service, Brad. It's,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
love
about trying to make a sale every time. It's about helping people out, and all of our staff that we've got there, like me, they sort of love the technology, and if you can show someone how to use technology a bit better, then they've had a happy day.
If they have a specific question for the segment, can they reach out that way
Oh,
as
yeah,
well?
absolutely,
And then
yeah,
you
yeah.
talk about it next week with Richard or me, as
Absolutely,
it might be.
yeah. No, I'd love to have questions come through. I mean, we obviously put together some ideas to talk about things, but yeah, if people have questions, absolutely.
Nice, Matt Dickerson. Nice to see you, and thanks for coming in. And you look great, and you know your outfit here. I feel actually dressed down today in my little Tutor logo. But have a good weekend.
Thanks, Brad.
At Tutor coming up to an 8 o'clock national news update next.